Welcome to my channel Car Auto, ladies and gentlemen. The BMW 1800Ti from 1969 represents a remarkable chapter in the history of BMW, encapsulating the brand's vision for performance-oriented sedans that blended practicality with driving excitement. It was part of the BMW Neue Klasse lineup, a series of compact sedans produced in the 1960s and early 1970s, which played a pivotal role in re-establishing BMW's reputation after struggling financially during the post-war years. The 1800Ti, where TI stands for Turismo Internazionale, was introduced as a sportier and more powerful version of the standard 1800 model, catering to a growing market of consumers who desired both utility and spirited performance in one car. The 1800Ti was first launched in the mid-1960s, with continued improvements made throughout its production years until it was eventually phased out in the late 60s. By 1969, the car had matured significantly in terms of design, engineering, and performance. It came equipped with a 1.8-liter, four-cylinder engine derived from the M10 family, one of BMW's most successful and long-lived engine platforms. In the TI version, this engine was tuned to produce around 110 horsepower, a substantial output for a compact sedan of its era. The increased power came from the use of twin Solex PHH side draft carburetors and a higher compression ratio, which gave the engine a more aggressive personality while retaining its reliability. The engine was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission that sent power to the rear wheels. The gearbox was known for its precision and feel, reinforcing the car's reputation as a driver's vehicle. Weighing approximately 2,400 pounds, the BMW 1800Ti delivered a well-balanced mix of performance and efficiency. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 11 seconds, which was quite impressive at the time, especially for a four-door sedan. The top speed hovered around 105 miles per hour, making it one of the quicker sedans on European roads. Visually, the 1800Ti maintained the same basic body style as the rest of the Neue Klasse sedans, a boxy, upright shape that prioritized visibility and interior space. The 1969 model year retained the characteristic twin-kidney grille that is emblematic of BMW design, flanked by round headlights. The car's clean and purposeful lines were a reflection of its dual nature. It was both a practical family car and a machine that could be taken to the track on weekends. The model was available in a variety of colors, often featuring chrome accents and stylish steel wheels with center caps that gave it a refined yet sporty demeanor. Inside, the 1800Ti was relatively simple by modern standards but was well appointed for the time. It featured a straightforward dashboard with round gauges, including a speedometer and tachometer, essential for performance-minded drivers. The materials were of good quality, with padded vinyl seats and durable plastics that held up well over time. The steering wheel was thin and functional, giving excellent feedback from the road, a hallmark of BMW engineering even in the late 1960s. The seating arrangement allowed for 5 passengers, and the trunk was sizable enough for long trips, making the car suitable for daily use as well as spirited driving. What set the 1800Ti apart even more was its chassis dynamics. BMW engineers paid close attention to suspension tuning, using McPherson struts in the front and independent semi-trailing arms at the rear. This setup allowed the car to corner with precision and confidence, something that was not common in most sedans of the era. Its relatively low center of gravity, responsive steering, and excellent weight distribution made it particularly enjoyable to drive on twisty roads or at high speeds. Braking was also impressive for the time, with front disc brakes and rear drums providing reliable stopping power. One of the key moments in the 1800Ti's legacy came in motorsport. BMW entered various versions of the car in touring car racing during the 1960s, including an even more potent version known as the 1800Ti SAW. This racing spec model came with an uprated engine producing closer to 130 horsepower, limited slip differential, and various chassis enhancements. It saw success in numerous competitions, further cementing BMW's reputation as a performance brand. Even though the 1800Ti SA was limited in numbers and not intended for mass market consumption, its influence on BMW's motorsport strategy was profound and long-lasting. By 1969, the BMW 1800Ti was approaching the end of its production life, with newer models such as the BMW 2002 on the horizon. The 2002 would go on to become even more iconic, but it owed much of its success to the groundwork laid by the 1800Ti and its siblings. The Neue Klasse cars had not only saved BMW from financial ruin but had also established the blueprint for what a modern BMW should be: sporty, practical, well-engineered, and fun to drive. The 1800Ti's impact is still felt today. Enthusiasts and collectors look back on the model as a key milestone in BMW history. It helped set the tone for decades of future models, from the E21 series to the performance-focused M cars that dominate headlines today. Restored examples of the 1800 Ti are prized for their simplicity, mechanical purity, and the visceral connection they offer between driver and machine. They are considered accessible classics, relatively easy to maintain and still capable of delivering smiles per mile. In the broader context of automotive history, the BMW 1800 Ti stands as one of the most influential sports sedans of the 1960s. It challenged the notion that family cars had to be dull or utilitarian and instead offered a vision of the automobile as a tool for both mobility and enjoyment. It also demonstrated that performance didn't have to come at the expense of comfort or practicality. This philosophy would become a defining feature of the BMW brand and is still evident in the company's vehicles today. In retrospect, the 1969 BMW 1800 Ti was a car ahead of its time. It offered an engaging driving experience in an era when such a quality was reserved mostly for coupes or dedicated sports cars. It blended form and function in a way that appealed to a broad spectrum of drivers, from professionals looking for a dependable daily driver to weekend racers eager for their next adrenaline fix. As a representative of the new class, and particularly in its performance-focused Ti variant, the 1800 Ti helped build the foundation of the modern sports sedan and left an indelible mark on automotive culture. Please subscribe to my channel Car